I want to talk a little bit about how you should be reading Long Day's Journey into Night so that you can be preparing to write your essay. Right? So right now you should, all right, have read the book and have watched the film. And I really want you to be able to put those two experiences together so you can see how someone really tried to produce a faithful rendition, at least as far as the language goes, the text, and what that does to spark your imagination. Okay, but you have gotten through the whole text at least once, all right? And now I'm asking you to reread. You've been rereading, and you're going to continue rereading to focus on your character. So I'm not asking you to read every word again, but I'm asking you to remind yourself of what the story is, and then to go back into the book and to follow your character. When does your character come in? Well, a little bit of a timeout here. Remember, I'm asking you to do a certain um, technique. There are a lot of ways to write about literature, and I thought, for this sort of class and for the time we have for this type of book, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to use a common technique, which is character analysis. So, of the four characters of the family, I need you to pick one. All right, so pick a major character, and now go back and read for that character. See when that character comes in, how do they usually talk? How are they talked about? How are they responded to? How do people respond to them? What are their emotions like? What changes their mood? Are they deceptive? Are they honest? You're doing a character study, right? And really, this is a character in a family. You can pick any one. But to really understand that, right, you're going to have to understand the role of the family in this work. All right. So the title is beautiful title, A Long Day's Journey into Night. And the play itself is going to follow that path. And you need to look at how things that seem clear, seem easy to understand, as you live with this family, so to speak, and as night comes and they move into the shadows, if you will, how does your knowledge about them begin to fray? I shouldn't say knowledge about them, but how does your initial, right, your first thoughts about them, your initial impression, how does that get complicated? How does it get nuanced? How does it get revised? Right? There's a different family at the end of the book, isn't there, than what appeared to be at the beginning. At the beginning, you open up in an idyllic scene, a picnic by the lake, right, by the river, and they seem to be laughing. But then you can quickly sense the tension, right? So your job is to ask yourself, really, what is this book about? Obviously, it's about a family and the relationships the family members have to each other and what that does to the family as a unit. What clue does the title give you? This is a tragedy, okay? Um, how does this family display its dysfunction, its tensions, its division, right? It's unified as a family, but rather it's actually quite divided, isn't it? So one of the things I want you to really think about for this work week and the work associated with this work week is what's the point of this book? It's not going to be. I don't think it doesn't have to be something that you can just articulate sort of in a position sentence or anything. You might be able to do that, but really, what is Eugene O'Neill trying to convey? What's the point of the play? What if you're watching this? If Eugene O'Neill is imagining you as the audience watching this play, how does he want you to feel? What does he want you to be thinking about when you leave the theater? And of course, it's going to be hard to nail it down beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? Who can know that, right? But get in the ballpark, right? Come up with a probable, you know, conclusion about what this thing is about. And once you know then what the point is, that's going to help you make a text explaining how your character is being used to drive that point home. All right. Now, again, I want to remind you. I want to emphasize that this is not math class. This is not algebra. This is not a scientific experiment that we can falsify, rerun, control variables, all that. In other words, you're not going to be able to come up with something that is beyond doubt in terms of your conclusion, your thoughts, right? Someone else might disagree with you. That's what I'm trying to say. But I want you to make a case for what you're saying. I want you to say, hey, look, this could really be how it's working. And I think that, this character is playing this sort of role. And have a confidence in your analysis and go ahead and share your opinions, okay? And these opinions are going to be grounded. I want you to understand that you are actually writing opinion here, right? That's completely understandable and acceptable. But we're not talking about opinion of preference. In other words, I don't necessarily want you to tell me how much you've enjoyed the book or didn't enjoy it. That's a subjective experience, right? I might have liked it, you might not have, or whatever, right? That doesn't take away its place in the canon or somehow diminish it as a work of literature, right? Some people are going to enjoy it more than others, right? So I'm not talking about opinion in terms of a subjective, this is my taste, this is my preference, this is my personal experience in terms of enjoyment, attention, whatever. But I am talking about opinion that's kind of based on values and philosophy and logic and a common understanding, a common shared understanding of how families work and what happens to people and how relationships change. I mean, you have a lot of experience with this already because of the years you've spent on this earth, okay, in a family or from a family, or so pull from that, right? And tell me what you think. Tell me what you think is really going on. And I want you to be able to show me how your character, whichever one you pick, is being used to bring that point home. Okay? So that's really what I want you to be thinking about is what's the point here? It's obviously about a family. What's Eugene O'Neill maybe trying to say about this family? What clue does the title give you? What are some obvious things in the narrative that you can count on? For example, the way it takes place in one house, mostly the way things like addiction come in from various angles, sickness, things like that. What about deception? What about tension between brothers, sibling rivalry? All of this. You can see that, and then you can see it ending in darkness and shadow, literally, right at night. So, these are things that you can use to try to reach an opinion on this. So, what is the family really all about here? What is the playwright O'Neill trying to say about the family? And then once you kind of get an idea about that, then you need to say, well, the character I picked, what role does this person have? How can I explain this person's job, if you will, or utility in the narrative, right? And I really would like you to write a paper about that, all right? So first, now you got to go in there and hunt that character down, right? I mean, look at the scenes they're in. Look at how they interact. Look at what they're doing, right? And I really wouldn't say no to you if you wanted to maybe type online in Google or someplace. What does this character do in Eugene O'Neill's Long Day's Journey into Night, and see what other people have written about this character. Read about them in terms of what other people's analysis. All right. Okay. So again, we're kind of rereading this, but you're focusing on your character now. You don't have to read every word now. You can just maybe look for your characters and your character's line of dialogue throughout the book. Okay, and just read what they say. And after you've read it once, what you should have done, watch it or read it. This will help you remember the story and maybe if you, as you focus on the lines of your character now, skipping the other stuff, you can get to the point where you can jot down some notes and have an idea of how to talk about your character in terms of how they're trying to help the audience, you know, the reader, whatever, see Eugene O'Neill's point about the family. Okay, so go to it and give this the time it deserves. And I want you to start sooner than later, because I'm a firm believer in the notion of mental percolation. You know, just think of a coffee pot, you know, and the hot water is hitting those grounds and sitting there, and little bit now it's drip, 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 and you know, it takes time, right? You know, good ideas come over a span of time. And if you can start on this sooner than later, start thinking about this now. It might be the case that as you're driving somewhere tomorrow or the next day, you have a good idea, you know, something comes in that, oh yeah, you know, and you can use that. You're not going to be able to do that if you put this off for until the last 2 days. Then it's all panic attack, it's stress, it's high anxiety, and you're just not going to do a good job. So, you know, start now, start thinking about this, and spend the time, and allow yourself, put yourself in a position where ideas can spring up over the course of days. All right? Okay, go to it.